something important terms related to this chapter. The first question arises कि what are green skills, and I tried to tell you about the green skills. So once again I am telling to you here the green skills are those skills needed to adopt, process, services and products to climate change and the environment regulations and requirements related to it. And we can include here the many things related to the green skills: knowledge, abilities, values and attitudes needed to live in, develop and support a sustainable and resource efficient society. So we can say here okay, these skills are required in areas such as renewable energy, water treatment, climate, resilient cities, green construction, solid waste management, etc. Now student, we talk here about the ecosystem. The ecosystem are dynamic change occurs constantly to adapt to stress and pressure in a process referred to as ecological succession. Over time, ecosystem reach a state of stability or climax. However, that stability is constantly tested. Living and non-living factors can impact ecosystem. As here, these are all part here. The ecosystem, living and non-living, means biotic factors and abiotic factors of the ecosystem. As we said, natural balance. If means an ecosystem, if there is a balanced, so then it means should be there as a natural biotic and abiotic factors. It would be in the perfect harmony. So we can say here the human activities such as urbanization and development and can encroach or destroy ecosystem. The extreme weather conditions such as flooding or drought can challenge an ecosystem's ability to adopt. And if we talk about the significance, key and significance, it is importance. An ecosystem is a natural system of energy production and nutrition, means nutrient regenerations that includes all the life forms functioning with the non-living components as a unit. Means three components make up the ecosystem, as you know student: the producers, consumers and the abiotic or non-living matter. So all ecosystem function with these components. Producers are the plants of a community, capturing light energy from the sun. Plants produce food and release oxygen into the air, as you read in the science book also. And I think you know and aware about these all things what I am telling to you. But as for introductory about the ecosystem and for the reminding here for the reminding about these things as I am telling to you here. So now you can see here the produce eventually means uh, we can say here the consumers use the food plants produce eventually decompose it for recycling with the system. Anabiotic elements include the inactive or dead organic matter that provides the underlying structure for the community. So student, as types of the ecosystem, we can classify it into broad categories of grassland, deserts, forests, tundra, freshwater, and marine ecosystem. So student, I think you can know more about ecosystem from your book also. Now next we talk here about shrinking natural habitats. The student habitat destruction means also termed habitat loss and habitat reduction. So is a process by which a natural habitat becomes incapable of supporting its native species. The organisms that previously inhabited the site are displaced or die, thereby reducing biodiversity and species abundance. The student habitat means destruction. It can be by here the human activity, mainly for the purpose of like harvesting natural resources for industrial production and urbanizations. So as we know ki to meet or to satisfy our need, we do many activity which is a harm for nature and environment. Like here, the industrial production, urbanization, and cleaning the forest area. So as we can say here, ki this is the destruction of the natural habitat. Like clearing the habitats for agriculture is the principal cause of habitat destruction. When we clear the forest, cut the trees, so then many species destroy. I mean, they lost their home, lost their as a living area. So we can say here they include like others activities like mining, logging, trawling, and urban sprawl. So habitat destruction is currently ranked as the primary cause of species extinction worldwide here. The destructive environmental changes, as we can find, like here, they include more indirect factors like the geological process and climate change. Here we find now introduction of invasive species, ecosystem nutrient depletion, water and noise pollution and other. So this is a loss of the habitat can be preceded by an initial habitat fragmentation. So, and you know ki, what would be the impact on the organisms? When a habitat is destroyed, the carrying capacity of the indigenous plants, animals, and other organisms is reduced so that populations decline sometime up to the level of extinction. Habitat loss is perhaps the greatest threat to the organism and biodiversity. To student, as we understood about ki why shrinking the natural habitat, because of our activity. Why without the thinking we are cutting the trees and we are clearing the forest to meet or to satisfy our needs. We the establish the factory for productions the goods. We are depleting these natural things. Now next we find here about student, we find here the pollution. Next heading here. So as you know, pollution is the process of making land, water, air or other parts of the environment dirty and not safe or suitable to use. This can be done through the introductions of the contaminant into a natural environment, but the contaminant doesn't need to be tangible. Things as simple as a light, sound, and temperature can be considered pollutants when introduced artificially into an environment. So we find here the toxic pollution also, which affects more than 200 million people worldwide, according to the Pure Earth non-profit environmental organization. This is here the Pure Earth, which gives the records, give the as this type of informations to us. Toxic pollution affects more than 200 million people worldwide. So as we find the many types of the pollution, as land pollution can become polluted by household garbage and by industrial waste. And this way we find the next type of the pollution, water pollution. Water pollution happens when the chemicals or dangerous foreign substances are introduced to water, including chemicals, sewage, pesticide and fertilizers from the agricultural runoff, or metals like lead or the mercury. So this is here the next type of the pollution we can say, as you can see on the screen, as a air pollution. The air we breathe, it is a very necessary to live. Without it we cannot survive. So student, here the very exact chemical composition means 99% of it is made up of the what type of gas. It is a here nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor and inert gases. The air pollution occurs when things that aren't normally there are added to the air. A common type of air pollution happens when the people release particles into the air from the burning fuels. This pollution looks like as a suit containing millions of tiny particles floating in the air. As you can see here in the picture, as the gases, this is the harmful gases whizzes upside, and the chimneys like this established because it cannot contaminate surrounding areas. So as air pollution can take the form of the greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide or sulfur dioxide, which are warming the planet through the greenhouse effect. Next we read about the natural resources. It means we are using natural resources wisely. Means today about 80% of the world's energy consumption is sustained by the extraction of fossil fuels. It is very amazing, which consists of oil, coal and gas. Another non-renewable resources that is exploited by human is subsoil mineral such as precious metals that are mainly used in the production of industrial commodities. Intensive agriculture is an example of mode of production that hinders many aspects of the natural environment. For example, the degradation of forest in the terrestrial ecosystem, and water pollution and aquatic system. As the world population rises and economic growth occurs, so this will be the cause of the depletion of the natural resources. Means as we are using in our everyday life like oil, natural gas and many such type of the fossil fuel. So student, these utilize wisely, and in future these will be deplete very rapidly. So student, as now next we find here the introduction of the species to a foreign habitat and removal of the predators in an environment. So as it is you can say result of the depletion of the forest area, many species move from its natural habitats in finding about their safe place for getting the shelter, getting the food. They move from one place to another, and this way they get in danger. Means the ecosystem and the bound to cause an imbalance. For example, it is given in your book. You can take the example here. To the rat and owl is a predator when we fell trees on a large scale, the owls are forced to move in a search of new habitats. So this can lead to the sudden surge in the rat population of that area. So this can be a extinction of that species. Then we talk here about the emission of the greenhouse gases and global warming. So unlike the other planets, if we talk about, so our planet such a beautiful and such a amazing planet for dwelling. Means you can say such a system, solar system. In other planets, we find the as a hot, means we cannot survive, and as much as a cold there, we cannot survive in both phase. The earth is a place for our living because it is a moderate and stable temperature because of its distance from the sun and enveloping atmosphere, a thin layer of the gases, and it protect our earth. That is called the ozone layer. Do you know कि student कि greenhouse gas is such a gas absorb and emits radiant energy within the thermal infrared range. It means we can say here कि greenhouse is such a gas which absorb and emits radiant energy. So it means the primary greenhouse gases in the earth atmosphere like water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. Student, you can see this is a figure here about the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect, as I told you, it forms the Earth's surface and lower atmosphere caused by substance such as the carbon dioxide and water vapor, which led the sun energy through to the ground but impede the passage of energy from the earth back into the space. Energy emitted from the sun, means that is called here the solar radiation, is the concentrated in a region of the short wavelengths. You can see here it is including the visible light. Much of the short wave solar radiation travel down through the earth's atmosphere to the surface virtually unimpeded. Some of the solar radiation is reflected straight back into the space by clouds and by the Earth's surface. Much of the solar radiation is absorbed and Earth's surface, causing the surface and the lower parts of the atmosphere to warm. So student, as today I tried my best to tell you all the things, but it is important to read the book. So I think you will read the book and give my answer what I have given to you to solve some questions in a form of homework. So thank you for today, student. Thank you.